Hey, precious friends, it is so good to see you today on Read Through the Word. We are going to be looking at 1 Corinthians 16, verse 9. It's right in the second section of our reading today. And wide open. There is a wide open door, Paul says. A great opportunity, in other words, for ministry in Macedonia, for a great work here, although many oppose me. Now, I venture to say that many of us, if we have stepped out in ministry obedience, whether it's something small, such as being a greeter, and I'm not, when I say small, I'm not demeaning greeting at the door at church, but as opposed to something like risking your life in mission work, so maybe I shouldn't even put a degree on it. It's something less risky. How about that? Or whether you are accepting a ministry call to be in foreign missions, there is a great opportunity for missions, both in our country and in other countries. And sometimes, honestly, the opportunity for ministry in our own country is greater than in other countries. Seems like the gospel is advancing more in other countries than in our own. Lots of reasons and speculation for that, but I'm going to stay off my soapbox today, and I'm going to stick to the message. But I find this so encouraging that Paul knew this great work was there, and he was going, even though he knew the great work had risks. And there was opposition there. And honestly, things haven't changed much. The gospel is offensive because it's piercing and it's revealing, and it, in its very nature, is going to cause an individual to be introspective and look at who they are, and that light that shines through the gospel will shine on their dark places, and it will show them, and therefore they will either surrender or they will become defensive, and they will maybe abusive, but most definitely opposing to us. So ministry is going to have opposition, but ministry will also have what ifs. Paul had the opportunity to really look at this and go, what if I heard God wrong? What if I'm not supposed to go here? Because in another incident, he wasn't supposed to go somewhere, and the Spirit prohibited him from going. So he was in tune. This is a man that knows when the Spirit's speaking to him, and he knows that even if he's sent into a wide open opportunity for great work, and there's opposition there, and he's supposed to go, that the Lord is going to see him through it. And if he has to die, he'll die. He says, I'm being crucified with Christ. He's willing to lay down his life. But not often are we asked to lay down our life, but we are often faced with opposition and what ifs. And so I wanted us to just kind of go over some thoughts that have come as I read this passage, and just reflecting back on Paul, is that we're going to have what ifs and opposition, and that the greatest ministry opportunities with the greatest risks also return the greatest rewards. It might be risking our comfort zone. It might be risking financially. It might be risking bodily injury. Yes. It might be, there's so many things that it could be risk, an emotional risk. But when the risk is great, the return is even greater. And that regardless of regardless of how we start our assignment, every what if should be finished well. We have to look at the assignment as that we accepted it in faith, that it was God. And as Paul said in Galatians 6:9, that we don't give up and we don't grow weary in doing good. That we do our best to finish well. And to keep our head and our focus and our gaze on the call and on our assignment, and do our very best to finish well. Even if someone seems to be taking over that's not supposed to be and bullying around, you know, you might have to have a hard conversation with somebody. I mean, people in ministry, let's just face it, it can get hard. And people can get a little territorial in ministry where there's great work and great opportunities. So do our very, very best to finish well and to work to resolve opposition with love. And then if there's great opposition in your assignment, evaluate it. And I don't mean evaluate it to decide whether or not you should quit. God really expects us to finish what we've committed to. He was a God of completion. The Bible is full of examples of people that I'm sure wanted to quit but did not quit, and that had obstacles thrown in front of them but continued on the call, or that got rerouted like Jonah, but he got back on the track and finished the assignment. So the Bible's full of opportunities for us to read about people who faced opposition and continued the job. And when I say evaluate, this is what I mean in that bullet point is seek God's direction. Continue to pray about the situation. It's not anything that he hasn't seen and that he's not aware of, but Lord, help me persevere through this. Show me what I can learn. Show me what I need to do. Be in his word, and also invite Bible-believing and Bible-living friends to be involved in the situation. And it might only be a couple people, or maybe you don't invite somebody out. That's what you would evaluate through prayer is, Lord, can I invite somebody in to pray with me about this? And maybe you don't give them specifics. Maybe you say, I'm in a situation and I really need prayer and I can't tell you what it is. And a good Bible believing and a true Bible believing and Bible living friend won't ask questions. They won't want details for their prayer journal. And they will not want to know, how can I specifically pray? If you say, I can't give you details. They will pray. You know your Bible living and your Bible believing friends. So seek them and then follow what the Spirit says, because there's freedom. Where the Spirit of the Lord is freedom. And you will know how to complete and finish that task and that assignment and how to overcome that what if or that obstacle. And here's the thing, is the risk will be worth the reward, because glorifying God is the most important thing, and then growing the kingdom is the second most important thing. Our lives are to glorify God and to grow the kingdom through the testimony, the word of our testimony. And you just think what our lives would be like. Let's just pause for a minute and think of what our life would be like had Paul not persevered and not gone to the places where there was great work and great opportunity, but great risk. We might not have these great letters. We might have a completely different story had Paul not continued on to finish the task that was set before him. He says in 2 Timothy 4, for I am already poured out like a drink offering, and the time of my departure is near. And this is towards the end of his life. I have fought the good fight, and I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. And now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which is the Lord. The crown, well, the reward is the Lord, the righteous judge, who will award me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. That word faith is pistis, and it is a strong word, and it gives you a picture of guarding and of holding true to what you believe, taking care of it and guarding it. And that's what we should do with our faith and with our assignments that God has given us, because this is exactly the example that we can follow with Paul. He did not stop. He did not quit. He finished the race, and he finished it well. And I don't know about you, but at my celebration of life service, I would love for that to be said about me. We'll see you tomorrow on Read Through the Word.